first, and then go down to the incorporate a little bit different syntax. So here we got a root folder, but now our index.html file is in its own folder called pages because it's one of the pages of our website. And our scripts contains trains.js. So how do we show this in our source link? Well, we need what's called a double dot notation. That signals to the browser to go up a folder first, and then go down to the scripts file, and then find the trains.js file there. Cool, now we know where our files are and we know how to make them, so let's see if we can put some JavaScript code in our trains.js file and get something to execute. Let's put a few console-style expressions inside our trains.js file just to see if we get a good response from our compiler. Uh-oh, error. What's up? Well, the compiler does not like how we have entered our statements into the file. We need something a little different so it can understand our file representation. We have to have a way to differentiate between the statements themselves. So here's our console entry, right? If we were declaring a variable for trains operational, we would just declare it and say that it equals 8, and it would be ready to go, and everything would be great. But if we put multiple console statements to execute inside one file, the compiler looks at it like this, which is just back-to-back garbage nonsense, and it has no idea where your statement begins, where it ends, or what to do. So we need a way to tell the compiler we're done making this particular statement. Enter the semicolon. The semicolon is very cool. We like it. So here we have what a normal console entry would be for our trains operational variable, and the only thing we would need to do to tell the compiler in a file that we are done making that statement is to throw a semicolon right on the end of that statement. It says, hey, we're done with this particular expression, go ahead and do that before even looking at the next one. So now, if we had a woot for semicolons file and we put all of our statements in there, each of them separated by a semicolon, we would get a fantastic blank. What? What's going on? Why didn't we get anything? We just put all that stuff in there with our semicolons. It executed the statements just fine, but we got nothing. And that's because everything that happened with those statements happened inside the compiler, and the compiler never printed anything out for the user. We need a way to get the results of our computations in the compiler out to the user. So in order to print from a file to the console, we'll use this cool method called the console.log method. It's going to output the result of your code operations from your file to the console. So let's say in our train system we had 12 total trains, as we know, but we also have today 8 operational trains. If we wanted to build a message for the user on the console that told them how many running trains we have today, we could use the console.log method and place an expression that builds a string inside its parameters. This would log out or print the contents of the string to the browser's console, and notice that there are no more quotation marks around that string. Now we can place any expression that we want inside of a console.log method. We can even ask if the trains operational is equal to the total trains, and since it's not, console.log will say false. So now we kind of have a way to get our messages printed to the screen so that the user can see them and they won't stay just inside the compiler itself. We can use console.log inside of our trains.js file to print out every running train. So let's do that. Here's every last one of the running trains. Wow, and let's see what we get. Every single one prints in order, and we see exactly how many trains are running and which ones are running. So here we have our index.html